Here's a full-length story draft for your title. I've written it with emotional depth, natural flow, and pacing to sustain a long YouTube video around 40 minutes when read aloud. It starts with a strong hook to grab attention, builds drama, emotion, and character development, and ends with a powerful message that motivates viewers to like and subscribe. The camera fades in on a bustling small-town diner. The clatter of dishes, the low hum of conversations, and the faint hiss of coffee being poured. And then, suddenly, the sound of laughter cuts through the air. Not the joyful kind, but the sharp, mocking kind that makes you flinch. Special Forces. Him. Don't make me laugh, the cop sneered, shaking his head at the little girl sitting across from him. His voice dripped with disbelief as he glanced over his shoulder toward a man quietly eating alone at the corner table. That man, gray in his beard, his shoulders broad yet slightly hunched with weariness, was her father. A single dad. A veteran. To the world, he looked ordinary. To his daughter, he was everything. And now, someone was mocking him, right in front of her. The little girl's eyes narrowed. She clutched her backpack tighter, her voice trembling but steady. "He's not just a soldier," she said. "My dad, he was Special Forces." The officer laughed louder this time, his uniform creasing as he leaned back, smugness painted across his face. "Kid, I've seen real Special Forces. They don't end up flipping burgers and living paycheck to paycheck. Your old man, he's just another washed-up vet." But what no one in that diner knew, what the officer couldn't even imagine, was that every word the girl spoke was true. Her father wasn't just Special Forces. He was one of the most decorated operators of his generation, a man who carried secrets that could never make it into books or newspapers. And yet, here he was, invisible to the very people he had once protected with his life. The little girl's lip trembled, her eyes stinging with tears, but she stood her ground. "My dad is a hero." The room grew tense. Some people snickered under their breath. Others shifted uncomfortably. The father, silent all this time, finally looked up. His calm, tired eyes locked with his daughter's. And though he didn't speak, his look told her everything. "It's okay. Let it go." But she couldn't. Not this time. Moments later, the diner's bell jingled as the door swung open. A woman walked in. She moved with precision, her posture sharp, her eyes scanning the room in an instant. You could tell she wasn't just any woman, she was trained. Military, without a doubt. The kind of presence you notice immediately, even if you don't know why. And when her eyes fell on the man in the corner, her jaw nearly dropped. She strode forward, her voice clear, cutting through the room like a knife. "Staff Sergeant Cole, is that you?" The diner froze. The little girl's eyes widened, her heart pounding. The cop's smug grin faltered. The man, her father, set his fork down slowly and looked up. A faint, knowing smile tugged at his lips. "Captain Reyes," he said softly, recognizing her instantly. She snapped to attention out of pure instinct, even though she wasn't in uniform. "Sir," she said firmly, her voice filled with respect. "It's an honor." The cop's laughter died instantly. The diner went silent, the weight of the moment settling like a heavy fog. Everyone stared, wide-eyed, trying to understand what they were seeing. The little girl's face lit up with pride. Finally, someone else who knew the truth. Reyes turned toward the officer, her gaze sharp. "You don't know who you're talking about, do you? This man led missions you couldn't even dream of. I served under him. He saved lives that day, including mine. And, you dare sit here mocking him?" The officer's face flushed red. His bravado crumbled in seconds. He shifted uncomfortably in his seat, suddenly smaller than he had ever looked. The father, Cole, shook his head lightly. "It's fine," he said, his voice calm and humble. "I don't need recognition." But his daughter reached for his hand, her little voice breaking through the silence. "But you deserve it, Daddy." And in that moment, the entire diner seemed to realize the truth. Heroes don't always wear medals or live in the spotlight. Sometimes, they're sitting quietly at the corner table, unnoticed, carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders, raising their kids the best they can with what little they have left. Reyes, voice softened. "The world may never know half of what you did. But I do. And she does." She nodded toward his daughter. "And that's what matters." Cole looked at his daughter, his heart swelling with both pride and guilt. He had fought for years to give her a normal life, to protect her from the shadows of his past. Yet here she was, refusing to let anyone tarnish his name. For the first time in years, he let the world see a small piece of the soldier he once was. His back straightened, his voice firm yet kind. I wasn't special forces for me. I did it so she could grow up free. That's all I ever wanted. The room remained still, the weight of his words heavy in the air. Even the cop, ashamed, lowered his head and muttered a shaky apology. The little girl wrapped her arms around her father's waist, burying her face against him. I told you they'd know one day, she whispered. And he smiled, holding her close. Doesn't matter if they do, sweetheart. You know. That's enough. The camera lingers on this moment, the embrace of a father and daughter, the silent respect of a room full of strangers who finally understood the meaning of quiet heroism. And as the scene fades to black, a narrator's voice cuts through. Never judge a book by its cover. Some heroes don't wear uniforms anymore. They wear the scars of battles no one else will ever see, and the love of the family they fought to protect. If this story touched your heart, make sure you hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more stories that honor the everyday heroes among us.